strange and charmed ones. I was recently tagged by my very good friend Kristin from My Life as a Teacup to do the new Harry Potter Artefacts tag. What is the Harry Potter Artifacts tag? Well, basically it's a tag that someone created where you take certain magical artifacts from the Harry Potter books and you give your book equivalents outside of Harry Potter for each artifact. So the artifacts that we've got have already been chosen for you. They're the wand, the time turner, the invisibility cloak, the Felix Felicis Potion, the Marauder's map, the Nosebleed Nougat, the Mirror of Erised, and the golden Snitch. So there are 8 magical artifacts, and I basically have to tell you what my book equivalents are for those elements. And they each kind of have an associated description, so as we go through, I will make sure to let you guys know as well. Of course, I'm going to go ahead and put the actual tag questions and the artifacts down below in case you guys would like to play along, because of course I am tagging all of you, but I just wanted to put a little bit of a disclaimer on this. It's that I feel like I'm a very, very bad person to do this tag because I have never read the Harry Potter books. Now, I really love Harry Potter. I love it a lot. I love the movies, I'm to die for the movies, but I've never actually read the books. And when you compound that with the fact that I am a Slytherin, if I was in Harry Potter universe and went to Hogwarts, I would have been sorted into Slytherin house. I just feel like that makes me a horribly despicable person. But anyway, I was tagged to do it. Kristin knows I love Harry Potter even though I haven't read all the books. So I am going to go ahead and complete this tag. Okay, the first artifact is the wand, and that represents a book with an interesting magical system. So there are a lot of different books with a lot of different magical systems in them and, different elements of what's magical, who's magical, what magic can do. But I decided that my wand book was going to be The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, because I think that book was just amazingly romantically delightful. And when I say romance, I don't mean when I say romantically, I don't mean romance like love, although there was that in the book. I just mean that sort of romantic, it gets you into the mood and it kind of evokes different feelings. And I don't know, I just loved The Night Circus. And it did have a lot of magical properties to it. And so that is my wand book. The next artifact is the Time Turner, and that is a book that includes an element of time travel. So for that, I chose the book Cloud Atlas by David Mitchell. Now, to be completely fair, the book Cloud Atlas isn't really about time travel. It's not as though someone hops into a DeLorean and goes back in time, right? But the Cloud Atlas incorporates a story that kind of encompasses a very long period of time. And the way the book is written, characters in the novel have parallels from different time periods, and the book kind of jumps back and forth between different time periods that are essentially, it's the same character, it's their same soul or spirit in different bodies throughout history. So I think it's a little bit of a cheat with this one, but I do like the whole idea behind Cloud Atlas. I really love that book, and I think it's time travel-y in a sort of not really a linear time travel sort of way. The next artifact is the Invisibility Cloak, and that is a book about a missing object or person. And I chose for this artifact Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. Now, if you've ever read that book, you know that no one really goes missing per se. It's not like a book about a missing person or a missing object, but in the book, the main character kind of goes on a journey to discover kind of the history and mysteries behind his grandfather. And to me, I feel like that is a really good representation of the Invisibility Cloak and kind of this idea that, you're trying to find somebody kind of more in an emotional and spiritual way as opposed to trying to physically locate their body. So I hope that makes sense to you guys. The next artifact is the Felix Felicis Potion, and that is a book that was a lucky buy. So I can't really remember like anything that was a lucky buy. However, I will say that there is one book, Down and Out in the Magic Kingdom by Cory Doctorow, which I would consider like a lucky buy because I'm not sure if Cory Doctorow does this anymore. But at the time that I read this book a few years ago, it was available for free. Like he made all of his works available for free on like ebook format. And if you wanted like an actual physical hard copy of a book, I think you bought it. But he was very kind of like open about like his work and like put it out there, like wanted people to read it, wanted people to share it, which was like a genius marketing idea. So Down and Out in Magic Kingdom, I ended up downloading it for free, didn't pay for it. And it ended up being like one of my favorite books. Not only is it kind of like a sci-fi fantasy about Disney World, like you can't get better than that. But I just feel like there's a lot of elements in it that were really interesting societal elements that are supposed to be like maybe things coming in the future that have a really strong like connotation to like our social media right now. So if you've never read Down and Out in the Magic Kingdom and you happen to be a person who likes social media and kind of the internet era, even if you're not like a sci-fi or fantasy person, I would suggest Down and Out in the Magic Kingdom because I think it's a really great book. And if you're a Disney lover, you should definitely read it. Next up is the Marauders map, and that is a book with the prettiest map. And although I've read a lot of books that have different maps, a couple have come to mind are like, I was like Lord of the Rings has a map in it. But the one that I thought of as being the prettiest map would be the Chronicles of Narnia. And I actually pulled out my copy of Chronicles of Narnia because there is like part of the map in here, although this book doesn't have like the full map. This is the book that I have for the Chronicles of Narnia. This was one of those special ones that came out from Barnes & Noble a few years ago. I just think it's a beautiful book that has all of the books in here, which is really awesome. When I read this a long time ago, I had like an original edition in every single individual book, but I like that this has all of the books in and it's like all like leather bound. So here is the map. You can see part of it. You can see Narnia up here, Arch and Land down here, and then there's like the Bright of Calormen, Eastern Ocean over here. This isn't like the full map because there's more down here that you really can't see, but it kind of gives you an idea. It's a really pretty map. So this is my book with the prettiest map. Next up is Nosebleed Nougat, which is a book with a character so hot that the thought of them gives you a nosebleed. So this is one of those moments where the fact that I did not read Harry Potter is kind of like biting me in the butt because I don't know what a nosebleed nougat is necessarily. So I'm glad that they had like a description. And the description is basically like a character that you think is hot. Now I don't get nosebleeds, so this like doesn't apply to me. And I kind of... this really stinks that I really do not have crushes on characters in books. And I feel like that's such a stupid thing to say because I feel like I must have had a crush on somebody in some book once upon a time, but clearly my love for them was not everlasting because I don't remember. So I'm going to actually take a cue from Kristin on this. Kristin pulled a character out of a Jane Austen novel, which I thought was pretty much a stereotypical literary chick thing to do. Like, we all compare guys to Mr. Darcy, or everyone has their Mr. Darcy. To be completely honest, Mr. Darcy is not my Nosebleed Nougat. Like, he is not the guy that I would be in love with if I was like in Jane Austen's time period, or a character in one of her books. But there is one of her characters that I do really like, and that is Captain Frederick Wentworth from Persuasion. So he would be my Nosebleed Nougat. I'm not really exactly sure why. It could have something to do with the fact that like Ciarán Hinds played him in a like movie adaptation, and I just think he's hot. And also Frederick Wentworth was a sea captain, like a naval captain, and kind of like a self-made man. And I really loved Persuasion. Like, I think that's probably my favorite Jane Austen novel. Yeah, probably. I go back and forth, but right now it's my favorite. Next up is The Mirror of Erised, and that is a book with an ending you wanted but didn't get. Okay, so this one's kind of hard for me because I tend to kind of accept things as they are when it comes to books, but there is one book where this is so lame, where I wish the ending would have been different. The book is Wicked, The Life and Times of the Wicked Witch of the West by Gregory Maguire. And if you're not familiar with that book, it's one of those books where that Gregory Maguire is like infamous. He does this a lot. He takes basically a villain in a character from a very popular story. So this is Wicked, so it's about the Wicked Witch of the West from The Wizard of Oz. So in that book, the Wicked Witch of the West was the bad guy, but he takes that character, the villain, and kind of tells a story from their point of view that makes them seem less of a villain and more of like a hero of their own story that's kind of just been misunderstood. So when I read that book, and maybe you've had this problem if you read that book or any of Gregory Maguire's other books, when I read it, you know how it's going to end. Like, and I'm not going to ruin it for everyone in case someone hasn't seen The Wizard of Oz, but you know what happens to the witch at the end. Like, you know what happens to her. And the whole book, you're thinking in the back of your head, no, that's not going to happen to her. No, she's the good guy. Like, I'm rooting for her. But then, of course, in the end, it happens, and you're so disappointed that it was like a self-fulfilling prophecy, but I mean, what was he going to do? He wasn't going to change the ending of the book that's already a story that everybody knows. So that's one where it's like, I really wish we could have changed the ending and gave her a happier ending. Or at least let her ending not be as like cliche as it really is told in the book, like in the original story of Wizard of Oz and how we all know Wizard of Oz. I wish they'd made it a little bit more fantastical so that it wasn't so really like, that's how it ends. So I don't want to give anything away because I feel like just in case you haven't seen it, but yeah, Wicked Witch of the West, Wicked, Life and Times of the Wicked Witch of the West. That's the one that would be my Mirror of Erised. And the final artifact is the Golden Snitch, and this is a hidden gem of any genre that you choose. And for me, this one's easy. It is The Golem and the Genie by Helene Wecker. I actually reviewed this book on my channel, maybe like last summer or something like that, last year, back when I was doing book reviews, like sporadically out of nowhere. I really like this novel because it really blends some of my favorite genres, which are like historical fiction, literary fiction, and like fantasy. So it's like a blending of all. It's like a great blend of everything. So if you've never read The Golem and the Genie, I highly suggest that you pick it up. It just came out in paperback. And I saw it at Barnes & Noble the other day. I happened to have it on ebook. That's how I read it. And I keep telling myself that I'm going to buy it in softback when it was coming out. And it came out and I saw it. And Mike was like, wait, you already own this book. I'm like, yeah, but I don't have it in soft cover because I didn't buy it in hardback because I don't really like hardback books. I know that's like a sacrilege or something to book readers, but I just don't like the extra weight. And I think that they're hard. To me, they're hard to read when they have a hard back on them. So yeah, so it came out in softcover and I was really excited, but I didn't pick it up. So, but it is a really good book and the cover is gorgeous. Last year, it was one of those like New York Times bestsellers or whatnot. So I feel like a lot of people maybe have read it or know about it, but just in case you haven't, I really would suggest The Golem and the Genie. It's a really, really excellent book. And I'll go ahead and link below my review of it as well in case you want to learn more. Okay, so now it's time for me to tag some people. So since Kristin already tagged me, I can't tag her back, which stinks, because she's my normal go-to person I like to tag for these things. But I guess I will tag for this Paige from Pumpkin Spice, Paige Lavoie, Emily from Mermaid Gossip, and Lindsay, Miss West End Girl. So I'm going to tweet you guys so you guys see this and make sure that you guys can partake in this tag as well. I'm pretty sure all three of you are Harry Potter fans, so I think this should be fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you would like to do this tag, I've got the questions down below, so feel free to do it, even if I haven't tagged you specifically. Just make sure you send me a tweet or something and let me know that you guys did it so that I can go ahead and watch it as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you like tag videos, give this a like, leave me a comment down below if you've read any of these books or have any other suggestions of books that you think I should read based on the books that I gave in this tag. And of course, make sure to subscribe for more awesome videos by me. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye. Because you guys have seen a very special little quirky file that I have in the front of my planner that I keep a couple of extra like little doodads and